Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
A federal court of appeals rules that the veterans' health care is so bad it's unconstitutional. I am Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel and dean of Liberty University School of Law. Joining me is Shawn Akers, the dean of the Helms School of Government at Liberty University. Shawn, the same week that I argued the Obamacare at the federal court of appeals, a three-judge panel on the opposite end of the coast over in the West Coast ruled at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco that the Department of Veterans Affairs' treatment of mentally alien vets is so poor that it's unconstitutional. The wars in Afghanistan and Iraq have ultimately resulted in many veterans having to be treated for post-traumatic stress and other kinds of conditions, and the poor care that they have been getting from the Department of Veterans Affairs is so shocking that they said that that is unconstitutional. And here we want to give the federal government, and this is a federally run healthcare system for our veterans. And if you talk to any veterans, and I've talked to veterans that take part of the veterans healthcare system, it is a very dismal prospect to get good quality and timely treatment through the veterans healthcare system.
So poor it's unconstitutional. You know, that's really quite a mouthful in itself. And we've got a report here, Matt, by the San Francisco Appeal. And here's the way the quote that they've got there by the court majority. It says, the VA's unchecked incompetence has gone on long enough. No more veterans should be compelled to agonize or perish while the government fails to perform its obligations. You know, if we've gotten to that place, here's what's striking to me after coming off the heels of you arguing this Obamacare case earlier. This is an amazing way to look at it, because if you had an employee, Matt, and you hired that employee to sweep the floor, and the employee said, I'm just not able to do a good job sweeping the floor, and there's dirt always there. He says, but I want a promotion because what I'd like to do is manage your accounts. And you say, fine, even though you really did a really poor job sweeping the floor, I'm going to promote you and let you manage the accounts. And he manages the accounts for you, and then it goes into the complete red. You're having to hire people to get you out of a tremendous amount of trouble. And he says, okay, well, I wasn't good at the floors and I wasn't good at the accounting, but what I'd really like to do is be promoted to be office manager and oversee those folks that do those things. So you say, fine, I'll hire you to do that. What you wind up doing in just a little while is going absolutely bankrupt. You've pointed out that the government took over partial investments with Social Security, didn't do a very good job. It's bankrupt. It took over portions of Medicaid and Medicare and providing needs for the elderly in a variety of ways. Didn't do a very good job. We're going bankrupt there. Now you've pulled up a case right now where the little bit of health care that we've provided to the most deserving of our society, those who developed health problems largely by defending our liberties, and it's said that the federal government has done such a poor job that it's unconstitutional. Now, do we really want to turn around and promote them and make them the CEO over every person's health care in the United States?
Well, I mean, you set up a good point. Common sense and someone who's running their own business, they would be out of business, so they wouldn't act like that. But the government just prints more money and borrows more money, and so it doesn't seem to matter to some of these politicians and some of our leaders in the current administration as to what the consequences are. Therefore, a socialized, centralized system. And so we have these problems already endemic in the veterans' health care. They didn't just happen. They've been there for quite a while. Endemic in Medicare. Let's look at part of this decision. The judges in this case, they went through the evidence, and they said they could reach no other decision. About 5 of every 18 veterans who kill themselves each day, every day, 18 veterans commit suicide. 5 of those are under the Veteran Administration's health care system, the court said. And they said this, quote, although the VA is obligated to provide veterans mental health services, many veterans with severe depression or post-traumatic stress disorder are forced to wait weeks for mental health referrals and are given no opportunity to request or demonstrate their need for expedited care, the decision said. It goes on to say, the delays have worsened in recent years as the influx of injured troops returning from deployment in Iraq and Afghanistan have placed an unprecedented strain on the VA and has overwhelmed the system that it employs to provide medical care to veterans and to process their disability benefits claims. Close quote. I mean, this is just part of this situation. They talk about how people slip through the cracks, and there's individuals that are not getting the kind of care, they're not getting the kind of treatment, and so they end up taking their lives, or that's the worst case scenario. Obviously, there's other situations where their physical and mental health condition deteriorates and gets worse. They may not take their lives, but they get worse, and they have permanent consequences because of the mockery that we see and the ill treatment that they get in the veteran system. The same kind of thing happen over in Medicaid. The interesting thing is that 40% of ER abusers, defined as people who go to the emergency room 4 or more times a year for non-emergency treatments. They go there because they have a sniffle, a cold, but it's not an emergency. 40% of those people who abuse the ER 4 or more times per year for non-ER type of treatment are Medicaid-covered individuals. These are people that are already in a federal insurance program, and they are the most frequent abusers of the emergency rooms.
You know, Matt, it's very easy to spend money that you don't consider to be yours. It's very easy to make those kind of decisions. That's why we've typically insurance as it stands has become something that we expect to pay our medical bills for us rather than take the risk off of us. When you see in this case exactly how it plays out when people wind up in a situation where they don't have the leverage of purchasing the product and exercising their own responsibility, when the veterans who are greatly entitled to have health care because many of them suffered the injuries that they suffered defending our liberties, when they receive this kind of care, what makes us think, Matt, that any other system to provide health care for just ordinary folks that didn't gain their injuries in connection with the United States are going to receive any better care? They're
not going to receive any better care. I mean, here the court says neither Congress nor the executive has corrected the behavior that yields these constitutional violations, and the courts therefore must provide the plaintiffs with a remedy. But this article that I'm reading here says the problem is that the federal judiciary doesn't pay the bills, and there's no money to continue to expand this program. What we're going to do with this new health care bill is we're going to explode the rolls of Medicaid, and in some cases increase the Medicaid rolls by 50%. We can't afford those. States are already struggling. They're already on the verge of bankruptcy, and now we're going to put more on them and have a failed system. We're going to put pressure on the insurance markets. We're going to penalize individuals. If you like centralized government-run health care, then see how it is over in the Great Britain and why people have coined the term medical tourism, because they have to flee because they can't get the kind of treatment they have there. So they have to go to other places around the country to get around the world to get treatment because they can't get it in Great Britain.
Well, Matt, we don't have time for it today, but when you build that into the large-scale economic condition of the United States right now, when we are borrowing much more than we are actually producing through taxes, we're entering into a place where it begs the question of why we're sending billions of dollars to Hamas in Israel and other places like that, when we're having to figure out how we're going to pay our own bills here to launch into this largest redistributive policy in United States history at a time like this and depress the markets seems to me to be at best an unwise, but at most a suicidal move.
Well, give us a call at Liberty Counsel. We're defending your liberties by challenging Obamacare. I argued this a few days ago at the Court of Appeals. The decision should come down soon. We certainly ask for your prayers. for this decision, and then from there, it is likely on the way to the United States Supreme Court. We're going to continue to battle this all the way to the very end, and we're glad that you are praying and partnering with Liberty Counsel. We encourage you to continue to pray and to financially support Liberty Counsel. You can go to our website, lc.org, or call 1-800-671-1776. Ask for my new republished book called Take Back America. That's the book, Take Back America. We'll send it to you right away. You can also sign up for the Liberty Alert right there on the front page, and the Liberator newsletter on the front page as well, and then sign up for the social networking, blogging, and events site right there at lc.org.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.